space. Bit cheesy, bit tacky, but it was. Why, hello there YouTube and welcome back to Freaky Future Reviews, Freaky Future Month Mark 3. I am Randy Ross and today we are back on the horror wagon with some Freaky Future sci-fi. It is Hellraiser Bloodline. That is written by Peter Atkins and directed by Kevin Yagher, starring Bruce, Ramsey, Valentina Vargas and Doug Bradley, with a young Adam Scott in there. So this is the fourth installment of the Hellraiser franchise, which serves as both a prequel and a sequel to the Hellraiser movies, and is the last one to be released theatrically, and it was also the last one to have any involvement with Clive Barker until the 2022 reboot. So this is from 1996. So in the 22nd century, a scientist attempts to right the wrong his ancestor created, the puzzle box that opens the gates of hell and unleashes Pinhead and his Cenobite legion. You know, the lament configuration. So this one is, is set in the year 2127 on a spaceship, and like I say, we see the sci-fi elements, and then we see segments like flashbacks of like the origin of the puzzle box and where it ended up and that. So the first one is like in Paris 1796, where we see a toy maker construct the lament configuration and create the have the Cenobites come be created from it. Then we go to 1996 in Manhattan, present day at the time, which is kind of a direct continuation from Hellraiser 3, where we see Pinhead come into it, and then we kind of go we go back to that, and then we, like I say, we have a bit of an anthology feel, if you will, to this film. And I like to think that after maybe the third film, the rest of the Hellraiser franchise is kind of like an anthology series that focuses on different people with the box, and Pinhead merely appears as a secondary character to clean up after the games have finished. With over the sixth film serving as a direct sequel to maybe the first two or three. What did I like about this one? Well, since when is taking an Earthbound franchise into the space in future panned out? I mean, we got Leprechaun 4 in space. We got Jason X, which is in space. And those films were not as successful. Jason X, I guess, was, just done for the fun of it and what have you, and I don't take that seriously, and I enjoy that as what it is if I don't take it seriously. Leprechaun 4 I've seen probably once and never again. Hellraiser Bloodline, or the fourth movie, they take to space. Bit cheesy, bit tacky, but it was the late 90s. I guess they wanted to try something different with this series, take it into space. I do like the flashback segments we get though in this, with the toy maker and them go back to 1996 with the tower, which we see constructed at the end of Hellraiser 3. We see some twins get converted into some twin Cenobites. We even see the Queen of Hell herself, played by Valentina Vargas, who is peasant girl, as well as Angela. She becomes like a Cenobite that has a thing for Pinhead, and Doug Bradley. At this point, he was the only returning cast member from the previous movies, playing Pinhead And at this point, Pinhead was pretty much the mascot of the franchise. He was the face of the films, and Doug Bradley stayed committed to that role way up until the 9th film. He looked at the script for Revelations and clearly saw that was just being made so the studio can keep the rights or whatever. And he looked at that and was like, nope. So I can kind of forgive him for not wanting any involvement in that. But yeah, for 8 movies, Doug Bradley played Pinhead, and like I say, does a great job as the character. I think at this point he was officially named Pinhead with the pins in his head, because before that he was known as like the Hell Priest. Wasn't really the antagonist in the first 2. I'd say that was Frank and Julia, and Dr. Bernard. But yeah, Pinhead I'd say is mainly just a Hell Priest doing his job, tidying up after the games. People that open the box, it's their own doing. You summon Pinhead, that's what happens. Just leave the bloody thing alone if you have any common sense. But we didn't want to get these films, and I think because of this one's, I think it failed. It was the last one that got released theatrically. After that, it was all straight to video sequels or standalone stories, but still had Doug Bradley's involvement. Even Ashley Lawrence returned in the 6th film, quite briefly as well. But yeah, I like the gore, the horror, the Gothica, the S&M. I liked at the end though, as the ship closed up into like a big giant puzzle box in space and then exploded. But yeah, it did get a bit boring in some parts, but like I say, it was set in the future and it looked freaky, which is why I decided to include this one. Like I say, I do like the origins behind the puzzle box and how it got made and that. And how we're not constantly in space throughout the whole film. We do get to see segments and them tell stories of the past with the box. And Doug Bradley is definitely one high point of this movie. But yeah, probably one of the last decent ones as well, I would say, until we got that reboot, which is good in its own way. Right now we're talking about this one, Bloodlines. So yeah, Hellraiser Bloodline. What am I going to rate this one? I think I will give this maybe 2.5 digits out of 5. So I'm a bit divided by it. So I give it 2.5 digits out of 5 for Hellraiser Bloodline. So there you go. There is my review for this episode. Have you seen it? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Share with your friends and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. All of my social media links are linked down below in the description, so feel free to check all that out. I've been Random Ross. This has been Freaky Future Reviews. You can watch all the series so far on the channel, so until next time, good of nightmares.